Oh man, 'cause we're drawing like crazy, believe it or not. So CuckRaven. Now they bring up H.G. Wells, but obviously CuckRaven was created by Roy Thomas. I actually have a collection of CuckRaven. CuckRaven is crazy. Okay, CuckRaven is insane. Okay, the whole idea that the Martians come back after after losing the first War of the Worlds, they come back and they take over the War of the Worlds. And the interesting thing too, which is mentioned here, is that it's not just another world; it is the Marvel universe. So, on this a timeline, they kill all the superheroes. Okay, and humanity is enslaved. Well, I always like that scenario where Earth is taken over by aliens, and CuckRaven is one of the humans who's is raised in the gladiatorial pits to entertain the Martian overlords, but he escapes and he tries to find his brother, and he gets a ragtag group of freedom fighters in this post-apocalyptic world to try to fight the Martians, and they can't trust many humans. This sounds familiar. It's always a great scenario. That's always it's for me that I like. Um, and CuckRaven is introspective. Now the problem with CuckRaven is when I remember seeing issues here and there when I was younger. When I got the collection, it's in black and white. It's not in color, so it's kind of the cheaper. But you start to see it. I forgot who. I think it was Gallagher. Who's the writer? The writers that really got this. Like Don McGregor, right? Not Ewan McGregor. Reading this now, as fun as it is, you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, the things that the woke stuff just happened a couple of years ago. No, your boy Zach. Okay, you mercenary for Empire. No, this stuff was under the surface, always here. When you look at the and it's kind of disappointing in a way to see CuckRaven. CuckRaven gets cucked out constantly. The woman in this group is constantly insulting him and is constantly questioning his competence, right? Of course, you also have is socially aware, right? Ahead of its time. Hey, the book featured the first ever interracial kiss, right? That woman goes with one of his friends, which is cool. His friend is awesome, right? So I have no problem with that. But, why do you have to bring it up? It shouldn't matter, right? So the other problem that I had too was that obviously CuckRaven sort of ends, and then they make that graphic novel with the P. Craig Russell art where they give him a haircut. It kills the whole idea. You have a science fiction Conan with CuckRaven in a post-apocalyptic world fighting Martians and mutants and all kinds of things. Right? There's even one. I'll go over it at some point. There's actually a story, very controversial now. I'm sure Mr. McGregor thought he was being very progressive at the time, right? But it does sort of undermine CuckRaven when you see it, and it's pretty apparent. I mean, geez, man, the woman cuts him. All she does is insult him like every issue, you know. What he should have done is anyway. Solomon Kane. Now, this is where you get a problem. Solomon Kane tales were infused with a sense of imperialism, as Kane was dedicated to cleansing. Quotation marks of doom. Africa and the Middle East. Well, what do you mean cleansing? I'm rereading the Solomon Kane stories. I'm rereading some that I haven't, right? Xenophobic anti-hero. Last I checked, he is against slavery, right? He goes against slavers. The problem is many of the slavers are not Europeans. Okay, they're not even hated Catholics anymore. For him. And as imperialism, he's a man alone. He's not leading something to take over the resources of Africa. He's a man by himself, fighting Africans, but also helping other Africans who are being victimized by those Africans, and even more by evil supernatural creatures. Sort of by a fierce righteousness, right? A xenophobic anti-hero, right? That's why when he finds out a woman is murdered, he vows to avenge this innocent life. Right? Very strange how they have a problem with Solomon Kane. Right? The Puritan background worked against him. Xenophobic anti-hero. He acknowledges and he has respect, okay, that he is different from the people, that he is a white man, okay, and they call him such. but they have a respect for him, and he has a respect for those of them who are honorable. I mean, what's his name? Longo, the witch doctor, saves his ass because he doesn't like magic either. Okay, but he has no problem making alliances with people of other races in order to fight evil. What a Jesus! What a horrible, problematic character that is. So, I had gone over this too. I'm gonna bring some of my videos out of the vault and repost them for you. And Skull the Slayer, I don't know anything about this. What I thought was cool here, Ape Slayer, where they took CuckRaven in Britain. Planet of the Apes was huge in the United Kingdom, right? One of the best-selling mags. So they decided to take CuckRaven and redraw all the Martians as apes. That's kind of cool, Ape Slayer, right? Come on, you lousy apes. Attack one at a time or together, but Ape Slayer will destroy you all. Ooh, you want to talk about problematic, okay? That people will have with this. Meanwhile, I love Planet of the Apes. Yo, the apes are right. Okay, when I watch Planet of the Apes, I root for the apes. Okay, so don't front for a second. Okay, humanity got what it deserved, man. So anyway, let's go through the rest of this. So we get the DC thing, and the guy makes a good point, which is always true. DC Comics was often late to the party, right? They were a more structured company, I guess. They weren't. There's no like the equivalent of Stan Lee in DC. You have a bunch of people, and even Stan Lee had to be convinced. But yeah, they were sort of behind the curve. But it's interesting. You see all the different barbarian fantasy characters they had. Obviously, Kamandi was a great character inspired by the aforementioned Planet of the Apes. Tarzan, they had a Beowulf series. I didn't know that. Some guy called Stalker. Kong the Untamed. That's right. Thor. Look, Joe Kubert with cavemen. Damn. Claw. Arak, Son of Thunder. I remember this. I never really read it. I just knew that he was an Indian, but the actual story behind it is really interesting. Amethyst, my girlfriend, my late fiance, she had all these issues from Ernie Colon, drew the Aryan, Lord of Atlantis, and the big one too, the one I remember the older kids liking, Warlord, Mike Grell's Warlord. This was huge. If anybody remembers the 80s comics. So, and just going through here, Captain Fear. Now look at this. Robert Kanigher, one of the greatest comic writers in my opinion. Alex Nino. Okay. I believe another Filipino artist. Like I said, the Spanish and the Filipino artists had a style that is instantly recognizable. Very detailed style that looks as good black and white as it does in color. Okay, and these are the Caribs. These are the Indians of the Caribbean. Interesting stuff. Right? And look, first DC gave you the world's greatest superheroes. We gave them to you. What did you do with them? Anyway, then we introduced Mystery Tales. You see, now this is the comics code still in effect. They don't want to say horror characters. They want to say mystery or like a thriller. Now it presents fantasy at its best. Okay, unfortunately we don't remember these too well. But like I said, Warlord was a big deal. I just remember Warlord all the time. So, and yeah, and this real quick, Sword of the Atom. I had gone over an annual of this. Sword of the Atom was cool. It was definitely Gil Kane, of course, who did a lot of Conan stuff. They had drawn this. They had made essentially kind of like a John Carter thing, where the Atom finds a world of microscopic people who are under threat from like other creatures, and he fights for them, and he has a sword. It was really an interesting variation, Sword of the Atom. I think it was great. And Gil Kane made a bunch of Burroughs-inspired stuff later. Weird War Tales. Remember Weird War Tales? I like to make some Weird War Tales when I'm good enough, man. You I don't know if they're gonna like those Weird War Tales though, but we shall see. Always the war. We gotta round this out. We got a lot of stuff here. Remember the Valley of the Worm, another Gil Kane adaptation. But you see all the barbarian characters. Shana the She-Devil and Khazar, right, during the age of women's lib. But then she becomes Khazar's girlfriend. She was a great character, actually. She was still very feminine. Demon Hunter, Atlas Comics. I don't know anything about them, but I know that Demon Hunter became Devil Slayer. Right? And you got all the different companies, right? You got weird world. Look at that, Elf Quest. Okay, my girl, she liked Elf Quest a lot. You got yo, best show as a kid. This is the show, Thunder the Barbarian. Okay, it's one of the best cartoons I remember growing up that wasn't Japanese. Star Slayer. I heard Star Slayer. This is, I think, Epic Comics. Sending a primitive man into the future. That's what I want to see. And bro, remember how good that movie was? I remember I had the comic too. The comic was one of those little digest comics. And so you see all the stuff here. Right? Sheena, I remember Sheena. She was the one with the necklace that was a boomerang, right? Anyway, going through really grew. But yeah, you see the what is it, Dagar the Invincible, right? These Gold Key comics that had gone on before, right? And they have something here about the Syndicate. They actually had a comic strip, and it's interesting to remember that you guys, you younger guys, are probably not gonna know, but comic books were one thing, but when you thought of comics, you thought of newspaper comics, comic strips. Okay, these were huge. I mean, these guys, I think, had more power and a bigger union or equivalent organization than they had in comic books. Okay, comic strips obviously were being printed in major newspapers. I think they're getting rid of them now. So just like Saturday morning TV. And there's Ernie Chan again, inker, but look at his pencils. Look how good his finished. He could do the whole thing. That was kind of cool, And rounded out, Arak. This was great. This was what was it? Cormac McCart. He was one of the Celtic Howard heroes fighting, I think, the Romans, or maybe it was later. There was a bunch of them with that with Bran MacMorn. But Arak is cool because. Yeah, Arak is essentially, it's the opposite of what you had. The European going native. You have this Indian, right? Ernie Colon doing the art. He's an Indian who gets discovered. He runs into Vikings, but they're not evil white men. They make him their brother because the guy can fight. The guy's a great warrior. And he ends up going to Europe and running into all kinds of, of course, this is a supernatural world. There's magic and creatures and whatnot, and there's Warlord. And Arak was, I remember seeing a couple issues of it. I'd like to see a collected version of this. I don't know if they've done that, though. They haven't really collected a lot of stuff from this period, which is a shame because this stuff is great. At one point, Arak, I know he gets like a mohawk because, hey, that's the edgy thing, those punk rockers. Right? And you see it too. Yeah, it was kind of cool. And he's an Indian that has the Thor hammer on the necklace. So you're appropriating a lot of things, right? But they're for the best. They're for the best. And look, there's Arak as a kid. So anyway, that's great issue. There's some more stuff here, but it covers the Dark Horse stuff, which there's a lot of good stuff. Timothy Truman did something at one point. I'd like to check that out. I remember this too. They used to have this where they had strips about Two Gun Bob. And I like this one here with this look he has. Yeah, because this dude is not a meathead. This dude is highly intelligent. Okay, you think he's a meathead because he's not of your damn civilization. Well, look at you now. Look at you now. And rest in peace so many years ago to Robert E. Howard, man. You actually showing what our kids are going to have to be raised on because you're going to need Conan. You're going to need to be like Conan and what's coming. Anyway.